There you go. Hey, Coach, how's it going?
I'm good, Matt. Doing great.
I wanted to ask you, on Monday, Taven talked about going through the competition, and, obviously there was a lot of pressure, a lot of stress as he was going through it. I just was curious about what you see from his demeanor this week now that he's the guy. Do you see maybe a more kind of relaxed, more at ease, more confident guy out on the practice field?
Yeah, I think so, and I think there's no question. I mean, there were points and times I think with both guys that you could see the pressure of it during even fall camp, kind of getting to him a little bit, and so I just think just to have that process completed, I think helps you feel more comfortable. Even at practice, probably more than anything, he's appeared comfortable during games. I think the first two, but I just think that it's probably a lot harder on the players than most people realize, and so I think it's an important part of maturing and growing as a quarterback and then learning how to handle pressure, because you're going to have a lot of it applied to you at this position, throughout the whole course of a season. So, but yeah, I think, once the decision's made and you get through that and you know that this is your role now for both guys in a lot of ways too. So, but especially for him to be able to know that, hey, this is, you're the guy, and go lead and go be your best every day in practice.
Exactly, Todd.
I suspect I may know the answer to this, but I guess I was hoping to try and get a little bit out of you on Cam Camper, at very least, I think we saw him kind of on the sideline, no helmet, but still in pads Saturday after he came out. Is it fair to assume there's not a concern about kind of re-injuring the knee, or is there anything more on that?
Yeah, so I mean, we use the availability report each week, and that's kind of been it's going to become the way that we communicate our guys, updates on things. So that's I'll leave that. But yeah, he's had a good week of practice.
Jack.
Louisville running backs are large and organized. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's been good for them. Is there a comparable running back that you see in the Big Ten that you can kind of base your defense on and kind of tell me about his importance to Louisville?
Yeah, I think he's very, very important to what they do. He's a very talented player, especially late here in his career, very productive, finishing up last season and in these first two games this season. So really impressive. Comparison-wise, the Henderson kid from Ohio State, from a speed perspective, and he's one of those guys where if he gets a crease, he can take it to the house wherever you're out on the field. So not everybody can do that, and has really good vision and has more power than probably you would think in a guy his size. So really good running back, has elite speed, and he's the guy that we have got to have a great answer for.
Yeah,
Hey, Tom. With the offensive line, it seems like you've rotated a lot of guys the first couple weeks. I understand some of that can be score an opponent, but do you feel like you have a group of five that you're settled on, or do you still want to rotate, I guess, this week or moving forward at all?
Yeah, we're still working through that. I think that, you want to be able to have, 8 guys that you feel like you can play in any combination to get to those 5 that you want, because obviously the nature of a season and how things usually unfold and the physicality of this league and how we're going to have to play multiple guys, based on that each week. So I feel like we're growing that group and have more and more guys in the mix. And so, yeah, I think you'll continue to see that. And we had several guys that didn't start, just still played 40 snaps last week. And that's important for us. And so we just, I've said all along, I feel like we got more depth at that position. And it's kind of showing up already. And we'll continue to do that because we got to, once again, be able to finish games strong. And part of that is being able to be fresh and keep our guys, in a position to be able to play consistently well each and every week.
Seth and Zion.
Tom, Taven kind of talked about on Monday, just, some of your guys have already played at Lucas Oil before at high school, and Taven was talking about, those memories, but you had that practice near the end of fall camp up there, just having gotten your guys out on the field there at some point before this Saturday, just how much of a difference do you think that makes, just getting them used to that environment?
Well, I think familiarity is always a positive thing, and as you mentioned, several of our guys have played there as high school players, coming from Indiana, and I think that's a plus for sure. And we want to get our guys there in the locker room that they're going to be in and be able to get to the flow in and out and be able to the lighting, catching punts and catching balls and just being able to get familiar with that. Our specialists as well. So I think that practice was very, very important for us. And that's why why we did it. Planned it ahead of time to be able to have that opportunity during fall camp. It was a good break as well, to be able to change up the normal flow of practice and then did a good team building activity together afterwards. So I just think that was a well thought out process we went through as a staff to be able to do that. And all our support staff did a great job of getting that organized. So, and appreciate the leadership there to allow us to go do that, during that time of the year. So, yeah, I think anytime you go someplace and it's not the very first time being there, I think it helps you with your comfort level. So, got to go there and got to play well.
Zion and Jim.
Along those lines, kind of as a coaching staff, what are some of the differences? I know you coached at Lucas Oil a few years ago in that Ball State game. What are the differences in the communication with the coaching staff at an NFL stadium versus a college stadium?
I think from that perspective, I think once the game begins, it feels pretty similar. I think the biggest thing is for your players, for us communication wise, I think the guys in the box, them getting used to being able to, the angle that you can see from. Sometimes that's different in different places. And sometimes NFL stadiums are further away, maybe sometimes even higher, something just based on, where you play. So, but at the same time, I think that I don't expect any issues with that. I think we're pretty adaptable for those things, but at the same time, we've done it before. I think that helps. And a lot of our staff was here with that group as well. But bottom line is you got to be able to adapt to new arena, new venue, and it's just a beautiful place. So I love playing there, love coaching there. It's been just a great place to watch a game. It's a great place to coach a game and play a game. So excited to be able to be there this weekend.
Jim and Daniel.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Doing great, buddy. How are you?
Good, sir. I know there's been so much talk about the quarterback situation, and with good reason, but going into this game, how important is it for Taven to get off to a good start so he doesn't get rattled and he can just settle right in? Because this is basically, while it's not really his first game, it's his first game. He's the guy. He knows that going in, and everything is going to be on his shoulders. So how important is it that Indiana, he's protected and is able to do what he needs to do to start this game?
I do think there's a lot of value in that, and I think that anytime you play, a high level team, which is what we're playing, and you got a young quarterback, I think you would want him to be able to get comfortable, and be able to get to a position where, he feels good with his reads and his progressions and everything he's doing as he runs the team. So, and you're right. I mean, I think it's part of the growth process we go through, as he develops as a young quarterback and being able to prepare for this role. And I think the same thing is true with Brendan, where he has to learn, okay, now being the number 2 right now, then, okay, how do I prepare this week? How am I ready when called upon this week? He's had the first time going through this process. And so being in that role. So I think both those guys together, and we got to do a great job as a staff to be able to establish that early momentum and early flow to be able to help them get comfortable. And obviously they're trying to do everything they can to create the opposite of that, and so we be doing the same thing if we're playing against a new quarterback. So I think that's going to be the challenge without question. And but he has a tremendously high level of poise. It's already shown up in the 2 games he's played in, and I expect the same on Saturday.
Daniel, and we'll wrap up with Ryan.
Hey, Coach. A lot of talk going into this game is about your team's defense and their offense. But what have you seen from the Louisville defense, like watching them? What sticks about them, and what challenges do they create for your offense here in this game?
Well, first of all, they play really hard. That jumps out on film. Their D-line, well coached, physical. I think they got a lot of speed. I like their linebackers, the way they can run. And I think their secondary is really aggressive. And I feel like that they contest a lot of balls. They play really, with a lot of confidence. And I think that they got a really good defense. They really do. And so they don't give you a lot of things. You got to earn and take everything. So I think that, they're going to be a team that anytime Coach Brom's teams are always usually known for his offense. And that's great. But, his defense there is really, really talented. And they got a lot of guys that they can rotate in as well and play in the front as well as in the back end. So I feel like that, they maybe not the ones that people are talking about, but they got our attention without question. And we're going to have to play our very best football and offense to be able to move the football and score points.
Ryan, last one.
All right. This is kind of a 2-parter. I guess first part, Taven, not the only Center Grove guy you brought in there over the last couple of years. Just sounds like he recruited Williams and a couple of these other guys there. How important is it for you to have a foothold in, I guess, what has kind of become the marquee high school program in the state?
Yeah, Coach Moore has done a phenomenal job. I was at Ben Davis when he was hired back in 1999. Was his first season there, and the immediate impact that he made was quite obvious. And brought in that whole wing T offense and a whole system that they implemented in their youth league, and it just grew and grew over time. And now they've become definitely one of the premier programs in the state of Indiana. And so to be able to have players from a program of that stature, and the thing that I always was impressed with their kids was the way they worked and how hard he worked them in the offseason, how their bodies, you could see it change from freshman, sophomore year to junior, senior year. And I knew the work that they put in. And so getting young men from that program that know how to work, expect to win, and are well prepared, they're coached hard. They understand the rigor of practice, and they're physical in their practices. And you get that mindset. You get a tough, hard-nosed kid that expects to win on game day. And I love that mindset, love that mentality. So love recruiting those kids from there, and we want to continue to get as many as we can.
All right, Tom, thank you.
All right. Have an awesome day, Elio.